You are at Lake Rant, where I rant about whatever my $15 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by being one of those. Actually, it's $10 a month, and actually, this guy paid $30. But it's for Kuiper, who says, dealer's choice, pick one of the following list to rant about. Number one, the 2018 Andrew WK album, You're Not Alone. Well, that's the one I picked. And I listened to it. Again, I've heard it before, but, I wanted to get a better sense of it. And it's an interesting album. I'm glad it exists. I think it's good. But it's an album that I can't really see myself listening to that much because I don't need it. And to explain what I mean, so Andrew WK, his first album, that got his name out there, was from the year 2000. I Get Wet, party anthems, all just these epic, chugging, fairly simplistic, but the song structures make the songs really, really epic and fun. It's got a unique attitude, a unique angle on partying, right? And I love that album. Now, WK has released a bunch of stuff since then. He has never made another album that I loved all the way through. There are tracks here and there I really like. And Andrew WK is he's a fascinating personality. I would consider him to be one of my heroes, in that his mindset towards the world, which is this idea that everything is a party, everything should be treated as a party, you should live your entire life as if you're in this constant state of just ecstatic fun. Everything you do, you should be happy about it, you should just treat it as like a great experience and see the good in everything. Ultra positive party thinking, basically. And he's done advice columns, he's been a public speaker, he's done just all kinds of stuff. He's been a TV show host, he's done basically anything that would hire him, and he puts on really bizarre, interesting live shows. I saw him on the Party All Night tour, where it was literally like, the idea of the show was that it wasn't quite a concert, it was more of a party, so the songs were like these weird versions of his songs, he didn't have a full band. It was strange. It was still a lot of fun. But all of that makes perfect sense for how we end up with You're Not Alone, because this album is the ultimate self-help album. I mean, there's literally spoken word self-help like audiobook sections on this album. All of the songs are about like beating your demons, picking yourself back up, and fighting another day. And that's all good, but it's specifically... This album is for people who have, like, bottomed out. Like, the tenor of the songs, the lyrics, is, when you feel like this utter desolation, this complete lack of ability to do anything, to be happy, and this album has to just overpower that. Its quest is to make you go from suicidal to, seeing the face of God, basically. Like, it wants you to, use the emotional trauma, all that negative emotional energy, and turn it positive and make something out of it, is generally the message of this album. And all the songs are like over the top, epic sounding, just ridiculous instrumentation, all like, major chords, bright sounding, just the first track is Music is Worth Living For. And, like, it almost sounds like Christian music. Like, a lot of it is very similar to Christian rock, both in, in sound and in message, essentially. Except that instead of giving yourself up to God, you are just, like, becoming your own God, essentially. Which is something I, of course, believe in. And I heavy fucks with the messaging on this album. It's just that I don't need it. I don't need pick-me-up albums. I don't need to feel this exaltation or this I'm taking all the negatives and turning it into positives. Like, my life is already positive. I don't, this kind of thing is too much. It's too loud. First of all, the mixing on this album, it's mixed in such a way that you really have to turn it up to, max volume for it to sound good. Which I guess is probably just because of the sheer overwhelming amount of instrumentation that's thrown in there, the amount of sound. So it's an album that can really only be played loud, and it occupies, all the space in your head. You cannot just have this on in the background. You cannot listen to it casually, Put it on while you're cleaning the house. Put it on while you're, doing something that requires a lot of motivation, working out. I imagine a lot of it would be good gym music. And they used to play Music is Worth Living For on a Planet Fitness TV, and I would catch it while I was on the treadmill. So I could see its usefulness in those areas. I've never personally, used it that way. And granted, I could say some of the same things about I Get Wet. It's also a very intense and charging album. But I feel like that album had more variety, both in tone and subject matter, in spite of how simplistic the album is. And, like, it's you know, it sounds good loud, but you don't have to play it max volume and get totally lost in it. It can be more of a background thing. And I guess that's not necessarily like a compliment to it musically. It's just I tend to listen to music more if it's something that I don't literally have to pay my full attention to, or else it just sounds like, you know, like a mess essentially. So you know, You're Not Alone, I would say solid album. Definitely recommend it to anybody who needs a pick-me-up, who needs some self-help. If you're in a dark place and you want to, you know, you want some guidance, you want some reassurance, this is a good album to listen to. I definitely think that if I had heard it when I was a teenager, it would have done a lot more for me, especially for my brother Victor. You know, both of us dealt with depression as teenagers, but the particular way that he is, I think this album would have reached him a lot for at least a little while. I don't know if it would have had the same effect on me, but the fact that it's, you know, an epic rock album, I did love me some epic rock albums at that age. So yeah, good album. Not my favorite by Andrew WK. Probably don't see myself listening to it too much. Maybe I'll go through, figure out what my favorite tracks are, throw them on my phone, and have them come on in the car or in the gym. But not that I go to the gym recently, but whatever. Andrew WK, You're Not Alone, pretty good.